Hello, boys and girls. Mr. Palace here. So excited to see you. We have a story called The Blind Men and the Elephant. The Blind Men and the Elephant. Long ago and far away, there lived 6 blind men. And although these men could not see, they learned about the world in many ways. They could hear the music of the flute with their ears. They could feel the softness of silk with their fingers. They could smell the scent of food cooking and taste its spicy flavors. Together, they took care of their home, and they were very happy. Then one day, the blind men heard some exciting news. The prince had received a new elephant at his palace. The blind men had heard of elephants, but they never met one. They did not know what an elephant would look like. "Let us go to the prince's palace," said one of the blind men. "Then we can find out what the elephant is really like." Off they went. It was a long walk to the palace. The blind men grew hot and thirsty, but they did not stop. They could not wait to touch the elephant. Finally, they reached the palace. A guard came to greet them. The blind men told him why they had come. "Of course you may touch the elephant," said the guard. "I am sure the prince will not mind." The guard led the 6 men to the animal, which stood quietly in the garden. The first blind man touched the elephant's side. "It is strong and wide," he thought. "I think an elephant is like a wall." I haven't thought of it like that before. The second blind man touched the elephant's long, round trunk. "Oh, it is just like a snake," he decided. The third man grabbed the elephant's smooth ivory tusk. "Wow, an elephant is as sharp as a spear." The fourth man held the elephant's leg. He thought it was as round and firm as a tree. The fifth blind man held the elephant's ear. The ear was very, very big. The elephant flapped it gently. The fifth man laughed. "Aha! It's just like a fan." The sixth blind man touched the elephant's long, thin tail. "An elephant is like a rope," he thought. By now, it was midday. The sun burned hot in the sky. The guard took the 6 men over to a tall, shady tree. "Why don't you rest here?" he said. "I will bring you some water." While they waited, the 6 blind men talked about the elephant. No one told me that the elephant is like a wall, said the first man. A wall? Said the second man. Oh no, it is like a snake. The third man shook his head. An elephant is clearly like a sparrow. What? Said the fourth man. An elephant is like a tree. The fifth man started to shout. A wall? A snake? A spear? A tree? You're all wrong. An elephant is like a fan. No, it is like a rope, yelled the sixth blind man. The sound of angry voices filled the garden. It was the sound of the sixth blind man fighting about the elephant. A wall, a snake, a spear, a tree, a fan, a rope. All the noise woke the prince. He had been taking his midday nap. Quiet, he called. I am trying to sleep. We are sorry, said the first blind man, but we cannot agree on what an elephant is like. We each touch the same animal, but to each of us the animal is completely different. The prince spoke gently. The elephant is a very large animal. Its side is like a wall. Its trunk is like a snake. Its tusks are like spears. Its legs are like trees. Its ears are like fans. And its tail is like a rope. So you are all right, but you are all wrong too. For each of you touched only one part of the animal. To know what an elephant is really like, you must put all of those parts together. The blind man thought about the prince's words. They realized that he was very wise. I will tell you something else about the elephant, said the prince. It is very good to ride on. Now you will ride on it all the way home. So they did. And they all agreed that was the best part of all. I like the story a lot. It reminded me of like perspectives, like the way we see, the world. And some of us may see one aspect of it, but we're missing out on a different aspect. And our friend can see the different aspect, but can't see what we're seeing. So it's important that we communicate and explain our side, but we are also listening to hear their side. The Three Billy Goats Gruff. Now, I know we've heard this story before, but this is by a different author, so you'll notice that the story is a little bit different. Once upon a time, there were three billy goats. First, there was the little billy goat Gruff, who was the smallest of the three. Then there was a middle billy goat Gruff, who was bigger than the little billy goat Gruff, but not as big as the great billy goat Gruff. And he was, as you can see, the biggest of all of them. Now these billy goats lived in a tiny village at the foot of a high mountain. Every year during spring and summer, the three billy goats Gruff left their tiny village and went to stay up on the hillside nearby. All day they nibbled the juicy green grass that grew there, and by night they slept underneath the stars. Some days the three billy goats Gruff crossed the river to the other side of the valley, where the grass was even greener and juicier and full of sweet smelling wildflowers. Now the bridge over the river was rickety rackety. It swayed and creaked and went wibbly wobbly. Perhaps someone will mend it one fine day, said the three billy goats Gruff every time they went trip-trapping across. But when winter came along and snow covered the juicy green grass, the three billy goats Gruff said goodbye to the hillside and went back to live in their tiny village at the foot of the high mountain. So every year, before the weather got too cold and the snow was too deep, the three billy goats Gruff trotted home down the mountain track. The folks in the village were delighted to see them, especially the children, for it was their job to look after the three billy goats Gruff in the winter. Sometimes the children gave them oats to nibble from a basket and barley from a big brass bucket. The little billy goat Gruff, as you can see, would nibble anything that came his way, but the three billy goats Gruff were happiest of all when the children brought them sweet-smelling hay. It reminded them of the juicy green grass that grew on the hillside in the springtime. And through the long dark winter nights, when the three billy goats Gruff rode nice and warm and cozy in the barn, the children would listen to stories. When the shutters were closed tight and the fire was burning brightly, that was the time the children wanted to hear about trolls. Now, there are trolls with claws and rows of teeth. There are trolls with horns and great big feet. Some of them are scary, some are scaly, some are hairy, but every troll is big, bad, and scary. The children listened to tales of trolls until it was past their bedtime. Good night, and beware of the big bad trolls, they whispered sweetly as they went off to bed. They hid under the bridges, in dark caves and holes. Don't go up the mountains for the fear of trolls. Now the three billy goats Gruff never heard all the stories that were told about the trolls on dark winter nights, which was just as well, perhaps. On winter nights, as soon as darkness fell, all the animals in the warm, cozy barn settled down to sleep. The three billy goats Gruff closed their eyes and dreamed of spring, when the juicy green grass would grow on the hillside once more. Then one very special morning, as the three billy goats Gruff came out of the barn, something felt different. Birds were whistling, bees were humming, and a sunbeam tickled the little billy goats Gruff's nose. Spring had come at last. I can smell spring, and the middle billy goat Gruff sighed as he sniffed the fresh air. It must be the new juicy green grass on the hillside you could smell, said the great big billy goat Gruff. So without wasting a single moment, the three of them trotted out of the village and turned up the narrow path that led to the hillside. When the three billy goats Gruff saw the new grass, it made them feel hungry, and they began to nibble the fresh shoots right away. They chomped and they munched, and they chewed and they crunched all morning long, until every single bit of juicy green grass had vanished. Where did it all gone? Gasped the little billy goats Gruff, as he stared at the ground. We've eaten it, I'm afraid, said the middle billy goat Gruff, sadly. Look across the river, cried the great billy goat Gruff. There's a whole hillside covered with new, juicy green grass over there. The three billy goats Gruff could hardly wait to cross the bridge and get to the new, juicy green grass on the other side. I wonder if the bridge is still rickety-rackety, asked the three billy goat Gruff as they rushed down to the river. I wonder if the bridge still sways and creaks and goes wibbly-wobbly, asked the middle billy goat Gruff. I wonder if our hoofs still go trip-trap every time we cross the bridge, asked the great big billy goat Gruff. I'm the smallest. I'll go first, called the little billy goat Gruff. Then we'll find out. And off he went. Uh-oh. Now, the three billy goats Gruff didn't know that during the long, cold, dark months of winter, a big bad troll had come to live beneath the rickety-rackety bridge. The instant he heard the little billy goat Gruff, small hoofs trip-trapping across the wibbly-wobbly wooden planks, the big bad troll leapt out from under the rickety-rackety bridge. He raged, he roared, he showed his claws, he gnashed his pointy teeth. I'll eat anyone I can trip-trappity across my bridge, he growled fiercely. The little Billy Goat Gruff stood quite still. He didn't shake, he didn't quake, he didn't scream or shiver. Instead, he looked at the big bad troll and said, "My brother is much bigger than me. He'll make a better supper." So the big bad troll let the little Billy Goat Gruff go, and he went trip-trapping across the rickety-rackety bridge to the other side. And there he stayed munching the juicy green grass as he waited for his brothers. Next to cross the rickety-rackety bridge was the middle Billy Goat Gruff, who was bigger than the little Billy Goat Gruff, but not as big as the great Billy Goat Gruff. The instant the big bad troll heard the middle Billy Goat Gruff trip-trapping across the wibbly-wobbly wooden planks, he leapt out from under the rickety-rackety bridge. He raged, he roared, he showed his claws. He gnashed his pointy teeth. "I'll eat anyone I can trip-trapping across my bridge," he yelled fiercely. The middle Billy Goat Gruff stood quite still. He didn't shake, he didn't quake, he didn't even scream or shiver. Instead, he looked at the big bad troll and said, "My brother is much bigger than me. He'll make a better supper." So the big bad troll let the middle Billy Goat Gruff go, and he went trip-trapping across the rickety-rackety bridge to the other side. And there he stayed munching the juicy green grass, and he waited for his great big brother. Now, the big bad troll had made such a din and holler so loud that the great big Billy Goat Gruff realized what was happening, and he knew what to do. The instant the big bad troll heard the great big Billy Goat Gruff's hooves on the wibbly wobbly wooden planks, he leaped up onto the rickety rackety bridge. Then he opened his mouth wide and yelled, "You are big enough for my supper." "Oh, no, I'm not," snorted the great big Billy Goat Gruff. Then he put down his huge, sharp horns, and he charged. Crash, bang, wham! The big bad troll whizzed high in the air and flew over the mountains, roaring and hollering. Where he landed, I could not tell, but he never came back again. When the folks in the tiny village learned that the big bad troll had gone forever, they wanted to thank the Billy Goat Gruff for being so brave and clever. So they decided to celebrate. It was a children's idea to have a great picnic in honor of the three Billy Goats Gruff. And everyone agreed. So the very next afternoon, when the rickety-rackety bridge had been mended at last, everyone trooped over the river to the hillside. The three Billy Goats Gruff ate plenty of oats from the bucket and lots of barley from a brass bucket. And the little Billy Goats Gruff nibbled anything that came his way. And the big bad troll, wherever he landed, must have told all the other trolls never, never, under any circumstances whatsoever, go near the three Billy Goats Gruff. Wow. Amazing.